Okay. Hello, everyone. The greatest advancements must be visualized. Okay. So, guys, keep in mind I'm a bit nasally. I wanted to speak about the importance of visualizing advancement. Okay. So, to push myself into the emotion that is the intention of my collective self. But one thing we all have in common is the human story. It's what's going to happen to the individual human and what is going to happen to all human efforts ever. That's the question. All right. I guess today I'm more exhausted than I expected. Really, I wanted to speak about the importance of visualizing advancement when we can, the idea of using the resources at hand, and once we've used the physical resources, the non-physical resources remain. The non-physical resources are all the other angles that life can be viewed through. You know, this episode I was very close to titling it "The Advancement of Advancement Must Be Visualized." All right, let's go into a quote tunnel. What have people said about advancement? It's time to advance these advancement quotes, okay? So, John F. Kennedy. The goal of education is the advancement of knowledge and the dissemination of truth. James Madison. The advancement and diffusion of knowledge is the only guardian of true liberty. This one, I relate to it. Why? Because, I'm a member of a species in the middle of nowhere. We pretty much have the category of the past, the present, and the future. When we look at the past, stuff's been done, shit happened. The savageness of the human race almost destroyed itself. And then we come to the present, right, where, excuse my language, but shit is still happening, right? And the human being can still destroy itself if it wants. Destruction was never an option. The maintenance of the creative force was the challenge. Evil was in, like, this world, it's made it easy. It's an easy world to be evil in. Okay, evil is too easy. Imagine two beings. One of them was like, yo man, there's a lot of evil beings currently, and the other person was like, yo, it's not like there's evil beings. It's a savage place. People didn't care. The advancement, the evolution of the human race, its true advancement has been that it cares. Do you believe that? We started caring for more than the physical reality. That's why we created laws, right? And there are people who are like, yo man, I don't believe in anything that isn't physical. Then I guess let's not believe in any law, right? So laws are non-physical acceptances of physical context, are they not? So the ability to care. First we cared only for ourselves, and then they were like, yo, we need a partner. We cared for our partner and ourselves. And then we're like, yo, we need a tribe. We cared for the tribe. Then we're like, we need more than a tribe. And believe it or not, it's just costume games. It's as if a human being shouted out, yo, I found truth. I got it. I found the ultimate truth. It's as if all the extraterrestrials potentially watching humanity are just like burst out laughing. They're like, yo, these human beings think they know truth. They think they know more than their assumptions on reality. We don't know more than our assumptions, and that's the point. Our assumptions have become our reality. If you really look at the great work of the continental philosophers, for me, Ludwig Wittgenstein, he's that dude who's like, yo, human race, have you noticed that your psychological meaning is in language? And the limits of your world are in language. And to truly surpass the limits of your world, you have to surpass the limits of the definition, the boundaries of your limits. That means there are some people who have limits. They're like, I'm limited, man. What do I do? Right? And then there's some people who are like, yo, the limit is the limit. So the limit could be limitless. So your limitations are your definitions. So why have a limited definition? Imagine somebody's like so bold, such a badass, that he's like, my limitations are the limitless. That's how unlimited I am. Imagine you're a young guy, in some show where they're like, yo, this attractive girl's like, why should I marry you? And it's like, you look at the girl and you're like, I'm limitless. Anyways, to keep going. Menachem Begin. Peace is the beauty of life. It is sunshine. It is the smile of a child, the love of a mother, the joy of a father, the togetherness of a family. It is the advancement of man. The victory of a just cause, the triumph of truth. The triumph of truth, that's an exceptional way of saying it. We're all living for truth's victory. But what is truth? If we're living for it, it is also our victory. Menachem Begin says, we don't need legitimacy. We exist. Therefore, we are legitimate. Menachem Begin says, I come to Jerusalem. There, the sky is blue and memory becomes clear. Okay, that's a random. Oh, my bad, guys. I went into the wrong quote tunnel. Anyways, to continue. Hideo Kojima. Genetic engineering is a result of scientific advancement. So I don't think that in itself is bad. If used wisely, genetics can be beneficial, but they can be abused too. Oh my God. Do you know what level of darkness you have to be to manipulate genetics for an evil intent? Like, that's like, who has the time for that shit? It's like the only time we have, right, is to advance genetics to a point where human quality of life is increased. I once had this vision where I was like, yo, man, somebody go to the United Nations and tell these freaks and tell these leaders of the world that we need to treat the planet like a tourist agency. Civilization's gonna be like, oh, we have human tourists. We have human beings that are traveling. Their lifetime is a journey. So that it's the quality of the human journey. That means more than people want money, they want a quality travel experience. Thomas Reed has this quote that makes poets say, what the fuck? Thomas Reed says there is no greater impediment to the advancement of knowledge than the ambiguity of words. Let me tell you this, words are as ambiguous as there is a non-physical truth. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Poverty is multidimensional. It extends beyond money, incomes to education, healthcare, political participation, and advancement of one's own culture and social organization. Oh dear humanity, you will go on for centuries trying to advance your own effort only to see your greatest effort belongs to everyone. You know, that means it took me a while to understand it, but this is the real game. That you never just belong to yourself. You belong to the result of everyone. Imagine there was someone who's like, yo man, I need motivation. Somebody please come and inspire me to exist. The greatest motivation. There's a timer to your existence. The second greatest motivation, you have energy. You can do something. Oh, humanity. For how long should tired podcasters, wait for your advancement? There's a point where you see something that can happen and it can instantaneously happen. And then there's something you see you can happen, but it's not an instantaneous thing. It's the effort of a species in the void. When you hear that sentence, a part of you should start crying. Right now, sure, there's a view where I could be like, I'm one completed individual right now. I'm an epitome of completeness, right? Or I could have this view that there are lenses to my being, to my sight. There are ways of existence. There are moments where the whole thing is the great value, and there are moments where the whole thing is not the greatest value. But inevitably it is. Inevitably everyone is strategizing towards their own victory. Mr.Within is saying, why are we doing it in the shadows? Right? We should strategize a global victory. Where are the great generals of humanity? Where are the great pilots of humanity? Where are the advanced human beings that by their mere presence, their activation, their conscious activation in the realm, they are the greatness of the realm. You see, there's a view that you got to bring greatness here, and there's a view that greatness is already here. It just hasn't realized it. What is so great about 8 billion conscious beings in the void? The ability to convert the void into their greatest effort. That means all I'm asking is, don't you want to see the best effort of the species before it closes its eyes? We've built, an industry. We've built an entertainment industry on hope, yet in reality we don't have it. Right? We watch characters and we're like, yo, I hope this main character survives these like 100 episodes, right? But we don't care if the species survives 1,000,000 years. We have to be running after technology in the same way that we used to run after nature. Fear. There is two kinds. There is a physical fear and there is a psychological fear. And there used to be a time where those who had physical strength, yeah, you used to be a leader of humanity. But what happened? The future happened. Time happened. The ability of the biological organism to model reality internally faster than it's happening happened. Human beings should be feeling right now, whoever you are listening. If you were in an advanced civilization, you should be so honored by the existence of your civilization that to get bored in a civilization that needs everything to advance is impossible. They're like, no way, the moment we decided to advance was the moment that boredom died. More than an advanced civilization is just a snapshot photo of an organized utopia. It is an ever updating system. An advanced civilization doesn't mean there isn't advanced chaos. There is, but it's just there's an advanced ability. There's an advanced usage of it. That means, what is the most advanced usage of order to destroy, to create? What is the most advanced usage of chaos? To destroy. Pretty much we have a pencil and an eraser, and this has become the morality of the human species. If we want to erase life, it's easy. Just stop caring and you become an evil person quickly. But those who care, and there's levels of care. There's those who care for the past, but they don't care about the present. They're like, people used to be good. I don't care what I'm looking at now. There are people who are like, yo, people are good now and might get messed up in the future. And then there are those who are like, people have to be good. We have seen collective chaos, which was our ancient savagery. We have not seen collective order. We have not seen great global movements. I will speak as long as it takes for it to happen. Because there has to be a collective sense of honor. Do people have a collective sense of honor? At best, nationally. Do we have a human being on this earth that is honored by just existing in the human form? We have created so many different types of symbolism and categories to unite human beings. We have not realized that the mere design of the human being is its great unification factor. If you're a human being, you're welcomed in the advanced civilization. Let's say you're very good and honest and just an amazing good person, right? In an advanced civilization, you would be an advanced good person. Now let's say you're an evil person. In an advanced civilization, you would be an advanced form of evil. But because it's an advanced civilization, it is so advanced that the good and evil's advancement cannot limit each other. So imagine we have an endless updating chaotic system, and an endless updating ordered system. At some point, their endless updating is their common denominator. So the idea of an advanced civilization is the circle if chaos and order are the yin and yang inside the circle. I call this also a yin-yang type of civilization. Elon Musk. Government isn't that good at rapid advancement of technology. It tends to be better at funding basic research. To have things take off, you've got to have commercial companies to do it. You need to have individuals that care to animate reality. Human Majd. The city of Tehran is a very modern metropolis, and there's an emphasis in the Islamic Republic on science and advancement and technology. You see, the issue is the context of science cannot be accepted from a religious view, but science, its practicality can. The prevailing structures of personal reputation and career advancement mean the biggest rewards often follow the flashiest work, not the best. Elizabeth Kapuvailani Lindsay says all of us want to be better. Human nature is always seeking advancement. It's like, damn right it is. Orison Swett Marden. Many a man owes his advancement very largely to his ability to converse well. The ability to interest people in your conversation, to hold them, is a great power. All right. Zoe Quinn. I don't want to tell a story about how technological advancement is bad. Yeah, because it's if we say it's bad, if we can see the human brain, this inner realms simulate a version of reality. So what that means is any human being who's conscious and interacting with the world is interacting with a version of their world behind their eyes. Now the question is, what can be considered? You're either considering the worst version or the best version, or somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, right? But Mr. Within is saying, hey, why don't you try envisioning the best things, right? This was something that I think I was very blessed to have, a very, egocentric grandfather, where he just looked at all his grandkids and was like, yo, want the best wherever you go, want the greatest. All right, I've done my job as a grandpa. I've imparted my wisdom. Now out of my way, grandkids. Like so to want the greatest means to actually want it. There's many people who will hear me sing the song of the advanced civilizations. Many will come to sing it as well. When I constantly think about my contribution or legacy, I think I'm that person at that time in history where the world had become nullified to itself, where the world was put into a box. Inside the box, I'm like, yo man, are we in a box? Right? I'm that famous person in history. Yo man, is the species in a box of an ideological story that it has no sense that it can update the story of its existence? To want greatness means to want the best. To want the best for yourself, the civilization has been cultured to be like, yo, be humble. Who says you can have it all, right? But when it comes to everybody having it all, we're like, yo, that works. That's not narcissistic. To want the victory of everybody, including one's own victory included in that victory, that's the best possible. That's the way I can see, like, to a checkmate of ignorance. We checkmate ignorance by being like, all right, everybody wants to win, so what if everybody was trying to implement a solution that had everybody's victory in it, right? So that means, imagine all those parents who were like, no child left behind. Well, guess what? It's not an issue of a child, it's the issue of a human being. It goes through a cycle. This might be a bit savage way of speaking about it, but we have to get real, right? There's an expiration date on everyone, and the milk has to be drunk, you have to drink the milk before it goes bad, right? So we have to use the greatest energy of the human species. So pretty much we've reached that point where it's not like World War II, where somebody's gone in the streets, we're at war, people, we need soldiers, what do you want me to say? It's not something like that anymore. It's like, hey everybody, we're living in an incredible time of delusional peace, and the only way is that we need to recruit people not into some weird physical military effort, right? It's not a fascist, world peace dream. It's more like, yo, we need to recruit 8 billion human beings into an updated value system for humanity, where when you look at another human being, you feel such an incredible honor, as if you are couple thousand years in the future, and there is actual alien immigration, and there is passports saying born on Earth, born on different planets. And so imagine you apply for a job, at the same time a bunch of aliens like have applied for the job. This extraterrestrial tub of lard has also applied for the job, right? And so you see another human being who's applied for this job in the far future, where extraterrestrials are living among human beings, and you'd look at that human being and you'd be like, yo, a human co-worker, how precious, right? So you would feel the honor that the human species is currently numb to, in the face of it being taken away. Somebody once said, you want to see the true nature of someone, you want to see how someone really treats you, take away something you're giving them and see how they behave, right? See how they behave. So the moment you take away something that's important to someone, then you truly see how important you were to them, right? So imagine they have taken so many things away from you, that what we are seeing right now is actually the human species. And how do you overcome it? We have to get through a phase of denial. That phase of denial is the human species trying to have honor of its past. It wasn't honorable. The human past was fucked up. And arguments can be made, well, at that time it was a fucked up place, right? That's why those guys said that thing. Yeah, but it's the past. Human beings, like, see, there's one view that what a person can worship something or they can't, or there's this view that the idea of worship is, where's the attention of the individual? So the attention, wherever the attention is, something is being worshipped. Now the person can either worship themselves, they can worship others, they can worship the world, or they can worship an unknown X variable which is beyond the world, which is the safe bet. One true source beyond human comprehension. If you're going to worship something, worship that. But at the same time, if the idea of worship is the idea of where is attention, and if we were to look at the human being, where the attention of the human being tends to go, whether it's worshiping itself, others, or whatever, is through a categorization of past, present, future. So people are either worshiping the past, they're either worshiping the present, or they're worshiping the future. If you're worshiping the past, you're not really existing. That means your time is gone. If you're worshiping the present, it also means you're not existing. It means you're waiting. If you're worshiping the future, you're moving. Why? Because the future is where everything is going. This laptop has a future. My phone battery has a future. The energy levels of me being able to give this talk has a future. Everything I'm saying has a future. The future is unavoidable. It's the treadmill we're on. Whether we run to it or not, we're being pulled that way. So if you're worshiping the past, you're afraid of being yourself now. If you're worshiping the present, you may not be afraid of being yourself, but you don't know what to do with yourself. So if you're afraid of being yourself, you're caught in the past. If you don't know what to do with yourself, you're caught in the present. If you suddenly feel, and this is rare, and whoever's felt this, you are not just a comrade of my soul by nature, but if you're someone before me having said this to you, if you've ever felt this at some point in your life, that not the fear of, yo, am I gonna make it to the future? Not that. But if you felt in your most simplest moment where you're like, okay, life is too complex, I just don't fit in it. All right, I guess I just am what I am and I just take my steps. And if you in that moment have felt the unborn future generations, if right now when I'm giving this talk you think it's just out of my own joy, no, it's because I feel I am being watched by the unborn future, and they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing for the world? Oh, human being who's in the front lines of manifestation, what are you doing now that you are alive? What are you doing for those who will be born in the same place you are? What are you doing for humanity while you're alive, while you're in the front lines of form? Because let me tell you, there are civilizations beyond form. They're just so advanced they don't need shape to prove to themselves that they exist. We are at that level where if I don't see it, what the fuck am I? Like, we're at that point. We don't even trust the universal intelligence yet. We're like, yo, can I even trust my own intelligence? Look at how many mistakes I'm making. Well, through those mistakes, you know what it is? The vision that in some sense, somehow its energy is accessible to me now. It's beautiful because a part of me feels it's the ray. It's like my future self is angry, and I'm just feeling it. This is the vision I have of how, I don't know if it's for this life, if it's the future, I don't know when it is really, but the vision I have is an aerial view of myself where I'm not even a being. It's like I'm just this random camera, diagonal camera angle that's like from like a third person viewpoint viewing, that it's as if it's like, imagine there's a glowing being. This glowing being lands on Earth. And in its instantaneous arrival on Earth, it doesn't roar like a lion, but it does a roar of light. A roar of light is equivalent to like a sun suddenly entering an empty room. It's the idea that, are you ready for a greatness that the version of you that will experience it has not arrived? That means, can you feel the future self? Can you feel the future's self? I can, and it surpasses individualism. It surpasses what one person wants if in the aftermath of it all we're a collective being. If all our memories connected, if all our pains connected, if all our joys connected, if on various servers, on an emotional server, on let's say not a physical server, but let's say emotional, psychological level, human beings access the same mind space, it would reach a point where you would realize your whole life that to be an individual was a dream. And once you woke up from that dream, you were the effort of your species. You are not just the steps of one man. You are the steps of 8 billion in the void. You are the steps of the greatest effort the human being will, in some sense, release into the realm. Do you understand? It's like literally, I never thought I'd say it. It's a bit of a sad image, but what it is that the human species has is a cornered transcendental animal. And what happens to an animal that's cornered? It freaks out. And what does it do when it freaks out? It fights. And so the fight of consciousness in the void is that. We're like, yo, we opened our eyes after 4.5 billion years. We became conscious that we will die. Like all this time before consciousness, it's like, yo, nature's doing its thing, none of our business. But suddenly we've become a character in the story of a changing world. You know, there's a feeling, I don't know why in this life I've never had a sense of emulation, wanting to emulate something. You know, when I was younger maybe, right? But then it reached a point where it didn't make sense. It's as if you see this great film, you see the main character of this show and you're like, amazing, amazing. Look at what happened to that character. And at the same time, a part of you just feels, what about my story? What will happen? What sort of ending am I approaching? What sort of middle of a story am I living? What sort of risk assessment is there? What sort of novelty factor is there to the moment? What is new about the life that I have not yet lived? Let me tell you, how some people can relate to what I'm saying. You can relate to what I'm saying through an emotion of desolate anguish. That means you might not believe it, but there comes a point where you lose hope. You lose hope. You lose hope about like your own effort, everything. And it's one of those, you have one of those days where the day, it's kind of bad to say it, but the day just needs to be put down. You just need to go and like sleep the day off. Why? Because the intensity. It's as if at some point there is a level of chaos that makes sure the order doesn't fuck up, right? So chaos is literally like a trigger warning for order, right? That means the order, imagine the order was at 100%, the order reached 50%, and they're like, chaos, system is showing chaos. Let me tell you what it is. This is the strategy I've had. I've had moments where I haven't liked who I am, and based on the type of self I've been, based on the failure the self experience, I felt that I don't deserve. But during that moment where I was like, yo, if I don't deserve, instead of being like, yo, if I don't deserve, others don't deserve, my mind did a switcheroo, did something else. That moment where I was like, okay, I can't reach my individual victory, all right. At least if the collective is victorious, that's some sort of victory for me. It's like, yo, how did the narcissist help the world? It made the world into itself, and then it cared for all of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that in life, it's not enough to just exist. It's not enough to be just a biologically healthy individual. You need to feel you are serving something bigger than yourself. And because the civilization has let down the individual cannot serve the civilization because it can't trust it. You serve what you trust. If you trust me, you can come and like help me build an advanced civilization. If you don't trust me, you wouldn't even consider, right? What I'm trying to say is that coming from an individual with massive trust issues, why? Because his mind deviated from the norm. Sometimes when you miss the train, you might think it's a, curse, but it is a blessing. It's a blessing to get to see where your eyes will go and where the eyes of everyone will go. Because what did the human being see? It saw itself. What an evolutionary narcissistic entity, do you know? But then it saw others and it was like, wait a minute. The emotions I have been giving myself, the objects, the dimension of the body, all the physical stuff I've been amassing for myself as the central point of attention. What if someone else could be the point? What if you could, for example, be a husband or wife where the point of life is the other? Do you see? And then imagine you could be a type of human being where you're not just living for your family, which is a part of yourself. You're not living just for your nation, which is a part of yourself. You know, for your culture, nation. You're living for your planet. Can you imagine what kind of being you would be? Imagine, at your funeral, they're like, this human being lived for everyone. How advanced would you have to be to rationalize living for everyone is the victory? It's either we win the small game or the big game. The small game, you won, good job, clap for yourself on your mountain peak. The big game is when you realize you are as worthless as the destiny of your species. When you feel the future of 8 billion organisms taking every day deciding, like every person that wakes up, it's like sequence of decisions. But what is the quality? Imagine every person, like in my sci-fi novels, right? People in the future, their phones are like this sphere, this small like golf-sized sphere that's hovering like above them. Imagine in the future, everybody had access to technology, to AI. Before you made a decision, you were like, hey, AI, what do you think? And AI is like, I think infinite things. What do you want? Right? And we're like, yo, AI, analyze. Should I drink this cup of coffee or not? And imagine this spherical phone you have in the future that follows you around. It hologram scans, right? It holographically scans the coffee and it's like, yo, this coffee is exactly at this temperature. The best time to drink it is right away. We're like, thanks, AI. What I'm trying to say is that we're rushing into our greatest performance. And how fucked up is that? Imagine you've been waiting your whole life to speak to all life and you rush it. It's life crushing, There is no greater mental health factor than the idea of living for something greater than yourself, by the way. You know how many purposeless people, like some people think the general is always like, was always in command. Sometimes the general walked into a room filled with people who were like, yo, we don't know what to do. There is no purpose. And the general was like, yo, the purpose is your kingdom. Go expand it. And eventually you will reach that point where you will see that if there was nobody else, you would be the last person alive. It would mean that without your species, you would truly feel like nothing. Your species is here. Imagine like right now, let me tell you how fucked up it is, right? In 2023. Okay, right now, currently, there's war going on the planet. Yeah, oh my God. There's war going on. And imagine there was an extraterrestrial species, like evil, like in the movies, an evil extraterrestrial species lands on Earth. And it's like, yo, I'm going to destroy country by country, one by one, right? And this species extraterrestrials start bothering like human beings of like a remote nation. Like the feeling that the person would have would be like, how dare something that is not human interfere with the human activity. Do you understand? There comes like that ego where we're like, yo, where's the ego of the righteous? Let me tell you, it's just waiting until things get really fucked up. The heroes are waiting. They're just waiting to see, to see how bad it really is. Right now, I'm privileged to be in a world that is not in such massive turmoil that there can be communication. There is enough world peace for advanced communication, to advance communication, and to advance communication means a shift in the average human being's value on life. Your value should be that the human organism is an advanced technology, 4.5 billion years in the making. You know, this might be very extreme, but non-existence, it's like the intention should be the punishment. What you intend to get should be your punishment, right? To live for the future is what you do when there's nothing else to live for. You know, you might be a person, you might be like, all right, I don't have value. That's out, right? That's out of the picture. All right, the world is a effed up place. That doesn't have value. Others are effed up, they don't have value. And you reach a point where you could potentially see nothing has value, but the future, because you don't know what will happen, you don't know what responsibility level you need to have. So the idea should be max responsibility. Anyways, guys, I need to head out. I feel it's very important, whoever you are, that all human beings have to fathom advancement. If enough human beings envision an advanced civilization, that's literally what human beings are paying attention to. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. See you in Mr. Within's research lab. Assignments coming soon. Blessings. And don't forget, an advanced civilization is the future's birthright. You might not deserve an advanced civilization, but your unborn progeny, the future does. To advance civilization is the greatest honor in the external realms. To advance the world and to live in that advancement. It's possible. Thank you.